Hey guys, welcome back to Ken Michaels Radio, where we're always talking about the Beatles here on every single show. And occasionally here on this channel, it's been like, I think maybe once a month now, we do something called the Ultimate Beatles Trivia Show. That's when I invite three contestants to do a show with me, testing their knowledge on all things Beatles, the group years, the solo years, the music, their history, any aspect of the Beatles we can cover here on this show. And we have with us our reigning champ from the last three shows, Andy Nicholes, who is part of the Two Legs, the Paul McCartney Podcast show, along with Tom Hunyadi. And he also has his own solo. See, we do everything here, group and solo. We mention all the solo here on this show. In true Beatle tradition, he had to have a solo show called The Other Leg. So, Andy, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Ken, and good to be on. Hi, Bob, and hi, Mike.
As I said, Andy has won the last three shows. What I decided to do is when a winner makes it to five shows that he's won, then we have to have three new contestants. But that person can still come back in the future. Otherwise, we might have, a Ken Jennings on for about half a year on the show. And but whoever who has won the show from the first win to the five has to return for the next one. Okay. We also have with us Michael Ventrella. Michael has been a guest on my channel a couple of times. He's the author of this fine book, The Beatles on the Charts. And this covers all the Beatles singles and albums and how they performed on the Billboard charts in the United States. And if you're a charts geek like I am, this book is certainly up your alley. It tells you where the singles and albums peaked, how many weeks were on the charts, how well they all performed. He even has rankings overall for the singles and albums through all the decades, and it takes you all through the end of 2021. So, and I'm sure at some point he's going to update that book. Michael, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, and Bob Koenig is with us. Bob was on, we go back two shows, when we talked about an article that he wrote. Bob has been a friend of mine since the early 80s. And we both grew up on Long Island. He's still on Long Island.
Still there for now.
And we both worked for the same record store chain, which was Record World. And he has written an article, which is in the latest Retro Fan, called Beatles-Ploitation. And it concerned all the albums that came out in the United States in 1964 to take advantage of the Beatles' extreme popularity, exploitation on the Beatles, where they used the Beatles' name or likenesses and had all these different groups, even fake groups, that recorded Beatles songs, or it was an album with two Beatles songs and originals, and it was all meant to rip off a lot of Beatle fans, and as Bob would say, the parents of Beatle fans who thought they were doing something good for their kids.
That's it.
But it's a great article, and I invite all of you to watch that show because it's a lot of fun. Bob holds up all the album covers for all these albums that came out in 64, and you'd be surprised how many came out in that year. So, Bob, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to meet everybody.
For any of you who are new to this show, to this trivia show, the way this game works is, in true John Lennon Beatles tradition, there are 9 questions or games in the show. The first 3 of which are worth 1 point apiece. The next 3 are worth 2 points apiece. The 7th one is worth 3 points. The only time when this game is complicated is when it comes to that 7th game or question. The person who wins the 3 points has an option of either automatically being the first person to answer the 8th one, in which he has to pick between 3 games. And if he answers it incorrectly, then he loses points. He will lose 4 points. Okay? It is the only time in the show when you can actually lose points. He can either choose one of those 3 games and be the first person to answer it, or he can opt out and just be treated like everybody else and try for the 8th game or question for 4 points. Okay? And then the last one, game or question number 9, is worth 5 points. In this case, for those of you who have watched some of the previous games, we are going to do something called standing still, which is like a last man standing kind of thing, for the end of the show this time. So, and one more thing, because we're still working out the kinks for this show. This is not a high-tech show in any way. We don't have buzzers when anybody wants to answer the questions. I'm asking all my contestants to raise their hand and say their name as soon as they know the answer to the game or trivia question. You have to wait until I finish reading the whole thing. And if at any time, say there's two of you that raise your hand and say your name at the same time, and I can't tell who said it first, then to play it fair here, what I decided was you can write down the answers and then hold it up. And if both of you, or if it's all three of you at the same time who raise your hand and say your name, if you all have the same answer and it's correct, you can all win points. That's the only way I figured we could handle that situation. Okay, so is everyone ready to rack their brains?
Ready?
Hope so.
We're gonna start with the first game or trivia question. It is actually a trivia question worth 1 point. Again, wait till I finish reading the question and then raise your hand and say your name. What Beatles song's lyrics are loosely based in part on the nursery rhyme, Sing a Song of Sixpence? Michael.
Cry Baby Cry.
Very good. All right. So you have 1 point there. I'm keeping score, which is a good thing because I'm good at math, usually. Okay. Now for number 2. This is a pair of true and false statements. You have to get both of them correct in order to win 1 point. So again, wait until I read both of them. And also, when you're done with your answers, I'm only going to tell you if you're correct based on both your answers. I'm not going to tell you one at a time whether you're correct. Okay? The first one, Run for Your Life, was the first song the Beatles recorded for their Rubber Soul album. Is that true or false? The second one, Billy Preston plays on both John's Plastic Ono Band album and Imagine album. Is that true or false?
Andy.
Okay.
False on both.
You are wrong.
Damn.
Okay. Bob or Michael, want to take a stab? Okay.
I guess true on the first and false on the second.
That is correct. Run for Your Life was the first song that they recorded for, or they worked on for Rubber Soul. And Billy Preston plays the grand piano on God, on the Plastic Ono Band album, but he doesn't play on the Imagine album. So that's false.
Right.
Okay. So Bob and Michael, you both have 1 point. Okay. This is number 3 here, another trivia question. This is a fun one. What solo Beatle hit was parodied by Weird Al Yankovic when he called it, "This song's just 6 words long"?
Michael.
Okay.
It's George's hit. Suddenly I'm blanking on the name. Oh my God.
Oh no.
You know the one I'm talking about. George Harrison's last hit that was number 1. Now I'm singing the Al Franken song. I mean, Al.
Well, give it away to Bob and Andy.
I can't believe I'm blanking out. Okay, I give up.
Okay,
Andy.
You know, I know the right answer. Just
He has it though.
Andy, got my mind set on you.
Thank you.
There you go.
But he had to give him half a point because he was singing the melody.
He had the melody going. He had it.
He
Michael
did.
had it.
He did. We're giving him that.
I should give him half a point. It'll be funny if he wins the game by half a point.
By half a point.
I can't believe I just blanked my brain for that. All right,
okay.
Sorry.
That's what happens with these things.
So Bob and Andy, 1 point each. Michael, 1.5. If it even applies. Just giving you a little credit there.
Thank you.
We move on to number 4, and this is a game called All Those Years Ago, version 1. This is worth 2 points. I'm going to mention 4 titles of Beatle or solo Beatle songs. You have to pick the 2 out of the 4, released the same calendar year. First one, This Song. Second one, Girl School. Third one, Simple Love Song. Fourth one, Stand By Me.
Michael.
Okay.
This song and Girl School, I think, both came out around 77.
Not correct.
Oh, I
Okay.
would have said that.
What was the third song, Ken?
Simple Love Song.
Simple
This
Love.
song, Girl School, Simple Love Song, Stand By Me.
Andy.
Okay.
Would be Girls' School and Simple Love Song. Both came out in 77.
Correct. Okay.
Wow.
This song came out as a single and album November of 1976. Girl School, which was played here in the United States anyway, because
Right.
they wouldn't play Mull of Kintyre. But that came out as a single in November of 77. Simple Love Song came from Ringo IV, released in September of 77. And Stand By Me is from the rock and roll album, which came out February of 75. So the answer would be Girl School and Simple Love Song. All right. Now we move on to number 5, which is a trivia question. What Beatles song originally had a different set of lyrics and had the working song title, Why Did It Die?
Ooh. Why did it die? Andy.
Okay.
That would have been the working title for No One.
That's
Revolver.
right. That's right.
Wow.
Very good. Okay. You can all look this up, folks. And for number 6, we have a multiple choice here. This again is for 2 points. Which of the following 4 George Harrison Beatles songs did he never perform live in concert? Old Brown Shoe, For You Blue, I Need You, I Want to Tell You.
Andy.
Okay.
Which of the 4 songs? Which 2 did he never play?
No, there's only one.
Oh, there's only, say him again.
Old Brown Shoe, For You Blue, I Need You, I Want to Tell You.
He never played I Need You.
That's correct.
That's it.
All right. So Andy has pulled ahead, way ahead, with 7 points. Bob has 1. Michael standing firm with 1.5 points right there. Okay, so now we move on for 3 points here. And this is a game called Famous Last Words. It's kind of like a Beatle one-liner. A one-liner is when I just recite a line from a Beatle or solo Beatle song and you have to name it. The only difference with Famous Last Words is these are the last words of the song. The words read, and when I go to town, I want to see all 3.
Andy. Early 1970.
Wait a minute. I didn't. I think all 3 of you raised your hand at the
Okay,
same
so
time.
give us
Okay,
3.
so, but I don't know if the other 2 would have had that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. So I tell you what, here's what we're going to do. All 3 of you are going to have a chance for this, but I'm going to give you a different line. Okay? Famous last words. What Beatle or solo Beatle song ends with these words? Write it down. Everything is clear in our world. Don't say it. Write it down. Write it down.
I
No,
got
write
it.
it down. All of you can get points for this.
Okay. You want it?
No, wait till all 3 of you are ready.
Okay.
I know it and I can't think of the title. I'm just blanking on everything tonight.
Well, that's
I can tell you
yeah.
who did it and what album it's on.
but don't say anything.
I know. I'm not.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to blank out on that one. I'm
Are we
sorry.
all ready?
Yep.
Okay, Bob, why don't you show us what you have?
If you can read that. Like chicken
Oh, my
scratch.
love.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, my love. Okay. So you both get 3 points, which means Andy, you have 10. Bob, you have 4. But this complicates things because now we can't do the picking of the 3 games because there's 2 winners there. So what I will do is I will make this like any other trivia question or game where all 3 of you have a chance to get 4 points. Who gets this first. Okay. Listen very carefully to this one because this is a little tricky. This trivia question. Name the 2 songs in which the following pairs of people are mentioned in the lyrics. First one is Desmond and Molly. The second one is Joan and Molly. Andy?
That would be Obla Di Obla Da and the Ballad of Frankie Crisp.
You are awesome.
Very nice.
Okay.
I'll have to come back after he's won his 5th game and try again.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So that leaves our final game here, which is called Standing Still. Standing Still, by the way, happens to be a Ringo Starr song from Give More Love, his 2017 album, which he wrote with Gary Burr. This works like a last man standing type of game. I'm going to mention a word that you can find in the title of a Beatle or solo Beatle song. And each of you, one at a time, has to name a title until there's only one person left. And if it just so happens that you name all the songs, all 3 of you will get 5 points. Not that it matters at this point because we already have a winner in the show, but just for fun, we're going to do this anyway. All right, so we're going to do this, Andy, Michael, Bob. Okay. The word that I'm looking for is, oh, wait, let me just clarify one thing. You can't say something like the studio version of one song and a live version of the same song. Okay. Right. And it can apply if you've got the same title, but it's 2 different songs. Okay. You'd have to clarify in each case. I'm not saying that you'll get an example of that in this particular one, but that's what we'll do. Okay. In this example here. All right. So the word is away. A-W.
In a title or in
the
lyric?
Song title.
In the song title.
Beatle or solo Beatle. So Andy, you are first.
I'll go with Blow Away, George Harrison.
Very good. Michael, you're next.
I just don't work well under pressure, apparently.
That's not in there. The way is not in there.
Yeah, it's on that.
I'll give everybody like, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah. I'm trying to run through, album titles in my head and trying to come up with the songs.
This is what happens.
Blow Away is the first thing I thought of, and you grabbed it before I could.
Right.
No, I'm going to have to pass. I don't want to hold everybody up.
Okay. All right. So we're down to 2 people here. Bob?
The only thing I have is a Let It Be bootleg with a quick one while he's away. That's what I'm thinking of. Blow Away.
Really? The 2 of you are stumped that quickly? You want to try? I'll give you a few more seconds here.
I've got a few more.
Of course you do.
Of course you do. He's good under the pressure. Yeah.
This is what happens when you work in radio. Your brain kind of works this way because I have all thematic sets that I put in my show. So I always think in these terms,
Right.
What words are in common.
Themes and words are the same. Yeah, it's a radio thing. You know it.
Makes sense.
Yes. Unfortunately, my brain works that way. It's a sickness, but I'm living with it. And now I'm punishing all my viewers with it. But want to try, Bob?
That's fine.
Okay.
Can't think of anything else.
Okay.
You automatically won, but let me know the other ones you came up with, Andy.
Okay, I've got Dream Away, George
Very
Harrison.
Good.
Baby Don't Run Away,
Excellent.
George Harrison.
Excellent.
A Breath Away from Heaven, George Harrison. Right Away from Paul McCartney on Press to Play.
Oh, yeah.
Smile Away from Ram.
Smile Away.
Smile Away, there's a good one.
Take It Away from Tug of War.
Take It Away.
And, of course, you've got to Hide Your Love Away from Help.
Uh-huh.
That's
all right. I'm trying to remember. Did you say
Mike, what's wrong with us?
Don't know if I'm missing any, but those are the first ones that came to top of my head.
Okay. Did you mention Now That She's Gone Away?
No.
Okay. That's a Ringo song from Liverpool 8. Okay, that he wrote with Dave Stewart and Mark Hudson. And I don't think you mentioned Drift Away.
No.
Yeah. Oh, Drift Away.
Okay.
Yeah, the cover, Ringo's cover. Yeah.
Ringo's cover of the Dobie Gray song, which is on Vertical Man.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. You got to Hide Your Love Away, Blow Away, Ride Away, Now That She's Gone Away, Take It Away, Dream Away.
I'm embarrassed.
Dream Away, Drift Away, Baby Don't Run Away, Smile Away.
Mile away from my
Okay.
favorite McCartney album. I didn't
Yeah,
think
same
of it.
here, and I should have known that one.
Okay, very good, Andy. So that's you got 19 points there. That might be your highest score.
Wow.
I think I'm pretty sure it is. So that means you are now a 4th time winner. If you get to make it to the 5th win, you're going to be in that all-important club. You'll get your own suit.
Oh,
We'll have that's if we can get more people to win 5 games anyway. But,
has anybody?
no, there's Joe Mayo he won 3 games. Dylan Seavey won 1, and you now have won 4. Very good. All right. So before I say our goodbyes, you want to do a quick plug for what's going on with Two Legs, Andy?
Yeah, well, we recently had Mr. Peter Doggett on our show, who wrote the excellent book that was published in 2009, You Never Give Me Your Money, The Beatles After the Breakup, which is the best post-breakup book, I think, for my money, that spells out the relationships and the complex nature that the four had, especially with the business dealings and everything about that. And that was one of our most successful interviews yet. Really proud of that. And
I happened to watch that show. It was really good. Although I will question whether or not, I mean, Peter said that by Paul doing that interview in the first McCartney album, that self-interview, he felt that really put the nail in the coffin as far as the Beatle breakup is concerned. But we don't know. I mean, I trust Alan Kozin a lot on things we said today with his knowledge. And Paul knew John pretty well. And I think he felt that John really meant it when he said he was leaving the group.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. It's still just a guess and speculation. But apparently that's how he feels, Peter.
Yeah. So that was a really successful interview for us. And we had John Blaney, who is publishing the 5th volume of his book called The Songs That He Was Singing, which is coming out in, I believe, October. So August was a pretty good month for us with authors on Two Legs. And we had a lot of good authors that month. And I think Michael will be on our show soon too. I think I've got to talk to my co-host, but I'm pretty sure that's possibly in the works.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
And Michael, you want to talk more about your book, The Beatles on the Charts?
Yeah, it's available anywhere, Amazon, any place you can think of. Go through every single single that made the chart, pictures and descriptions. And if you're like the charts, you should enjoy the book,
And people who follow me know that I devour that stuff.
You're the chart guy.
I might have gotten some answers.
Some fans don't care at all.
Yeah.
How singles and albums charted. To me, I think it represents when the music was played to a young audience that makes up the buying public, how they responded.
And I think a lot of people, if they looked at the charts and saw how much stuff came out so quickly after each other, they don't always realize how quick those albums came out in the 60s. And in the mid 70s, all 4 of them were putting out stuff at the same time. And, you look at the charts and you realize, oh my God, this came out at the same time. They were competing against each other.
Right.
It makes it interesting.
It's nice to see because you have it laid out week by week where each of these singles or albums were, and if they were on simultaneously. Yeah.
That's a nice flow. The chart it's easy to read, which is really nice.
And also for a lot of young fans who are just getting into the Beatles now, who may not even be aware of how successful the solo Beatles careers were, look at this book. You'd be surprised how many big hits they had. The Beatles had more top 10 singles in their solo careers than they had as a group in the United States. Of course, you've got everything from 1969 on. You got more years to cover. But, you can't discount the fact that Got to Get You Into My Life was a top 10 single in 1976. Free as a Bird was a top 10 single in 1995. So, those count.
Mm-hmm.
We almost had a top 10 with the Beatles movie medley, which I've always dreaded. But it could have been a top 10 single right there. Real Love went to number 11.
That could have number 11. You went to 11.
Yeah.
Almost made it.
So, and who knows where Now and Then will fall. We'll soon find out. But anyway, it's a great book. I recommend it to everybody. And Bob, you want to tell the folks about your article on Retrofit?
You mean
a little bit more than what I had said?
Yeah, I'm talking about not just the Beatle albums, but everything that was coming out in 1964. You don't realize between all the labels, and you're talking about in America, I'm talking about, Capitol, VJ, MGM, ATCO, United Artists, and that's just the major labels,
right?
The underground budget labels coming out with different things that claim to be Beatles. There was a wealth of material in one year that, if somebody was trying to be some sort of completist, it was a tough task. And if not that, because at the time, mostly your parents bought the albums, the kids bought the 45s. So the albums the kids were getting, they could have gotten one of these phony albums by the Bugs or the Liverpools. I had one of these albums I found at a thrift store where a girl took real pictures of the Beatles and taped them to the cover, I guess to try to disguise it and make it look like the real thing, because she probably was told, well, that's what you're getting, and that's what your father bought you, and you're stuck with that. And so she tried to make it look real. But it was a confusing time, and it just shows that the sales are astronomical. And that was another first, that a major rock act, especially a group, would have such a following like that.
Well, it's not just the first, it's the only. There's really nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, and also you pointed out to me the Santo and Johnny album. Santo and Johnny, who had Sleepwalk, really big instrumental hit, and they did all instrumental covers of Beatles songs. But did they use the Beatles photos on the back cover?
Yes, on the back cover, there's the Beatles' actual photos. And it says the Beatles' greatest hits all over the cover, except a little picture of them on the bottom, and it says Santo and Johnny. So if somebody wasn't looking and they just grabbed it out of the bin, well, that's it.
It's also, you mentioned it before, but it's very interesting what VJ did. I mean, they had one album's worth of material and they soaked it.
They worked it to death.
Did they milk it to death?
Oh, God.
But my favorite is still that Songs, Pictures, and Stories of the Beatles cover. You can't miss that to be, especially a fangirl. You can't miss with that cover to be something that would be enjoyed.
And to combine the Beatles with Frank Ifield, I mean, come on. And the Beatles versus the Four Seasons. God, how much can you do with one album's worth of material? Well, you learn from VJ. So
VJ wanted to get, as I talk about in the book, VJ wanted to get as much as they could out before they were sued into oblivion
and shut down. Yeah.
All right.
And then you had the confusion when you got United Artists putting out a record, and then something new came out, which half of that album was already out on United Artists. So you're like, huh?
And then they repackage introducing the Beatles. There's two variations of that album.
Several, that's what he said.
Yeah.
The first
one,
Ask Me
songs,
Why,
and
Ask Me Why, and Please Please Me. Yeah.
It's Let Me Do and Ask Me Why, and then I'm sorry. Let Me Do P.S. I Love You.
Right, and then
the
Please
second
Please
one,
Me,
Please Me and Ask Me Why.
Ask Me Why.
Yeah. It's a fun time to be a Beatle fan in 1964. Well, every year.
Every year, the solo stuff too. We have to appreciate that too.
Thank you, Bob. All right, this has been great. I want to remind everybody, if you love Beatles trivia like this, you can go to my website anytime during the week, and there's 10 prizes you can pick from. You have one winner every single week. And I have games just like this and trivia questions, testing your knowledge on Beatles and solo Beatles. It's at kenmichaelsradio.com. Information on the three of my guests here are in the description box. And thank you guys for doing this. And Andy, you are tremendous.
Thanks for having me back on. And it was nice to meet you, Mike, and Bob as well, too.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay.
You were great.
Thanks so much for joining me, folks. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ken.
Take care.